This all took place 2 years ago, not too long after I moved to LA from Michigan. Because of this event, I learned a lot about advocating mental illness and stigma, which I now do on a regular basis, IRL and online. Mind you that this was written from the before perspective, explaining that we can't assume anything about someone regardless of beauty, stature, wealth, or appearance of it, etc., etc. It is important to be kind. Also, nowhere in there did I diagnose anyone. I am not entitled to do this because that is not my place. The word affliction should carry a neutral connotation and definition. Anyways, one afternoon, I walked to my local corner store for some smokes. About a 7-minute walk if you're really taking your time. As I was exiting the store, a woman approached me and politely asked for a cigarette. She was gorgeous. Super short hair, looked a lot like the woman who played Claire Underwood from House of Cards. Super lean, great shape, well kempt. Couldn't be older than early 40s. Regular clothes, basically a white tank top and jeans and regular shoes. People who are homeless don't always look dirty, but my immediate impression based off of her mannerisms was that she was just taking a break from a walk or something. It was really hot outside. I live in Los Angeles County. So I obliged, and after she handed my lighter back to me, her smile suddenly disappears, and she gets really, it's like she flipped a switch, and the polite smiling woman disappeared. It felt like her eyes got dark, like she disassociated. She took a drag and looked me in the face. Do you know what the fuck is going on too, or no? I had no idea what she meant, so I shook my head. There was that really mean smirk as she said, "Oh, so you're a dumb bitch too, huh?" I swear to fucking God, these fucking slurs moved into our land, took our jobs. No fucking joke, she deadass said it. "You're Trejo, aren't you?" I was completely shocked by this, because it was a nonsensical question. I thought it was a joke, but I could tell that it just couldn't have been. It felt as if she would have attacked me if I even replied, so I didn't respond at all. She seemed to lose perception of me while she started monologuing. It was getting more aggressive, so I managed to slowly walk away while she started raising her voice to say really horrible shit to no one. Most of it was racist, and I knew she wasn't talking to me exactly, but her eyes would dart back to me. I can't explain it well. I remember getting the goosebumps and immediately felt like running. Just sudden maximum adrenaline. I kept my cool and walked along the sidewalk of the busier road, so there would be witnesses if I happened to be attacked or something. Thankfully, she didn't follow. This wasn't the only time. It felt like she was either waiting around for me or something because I ran into her multiple times over the entire year of 2019. 2 of them being at the same corner store again. The second time was at a McDonald's on the other corner. I was baked as shit, eating that good, and everyone reacts to a woman crying loudly from a booth that was a few tables behind me. Dread. I don't know how, but I just knew. I couldn't bring myself to look. A manager approached her, and after asking if the woman was okay, the woman replied with, "Do I look fucking okay to you?" and just kind of went off. The manager threatened to call the cops, and I just tried to keep my eyes down. As she passed me right before leaving, like literally her hand pushing the door open, she backs up and glares directly at me. Hey, fucking look at me. Y'all, this woman, she radiated wrath. Mama didn't raise no bitch, but I'm not fearless. For the first time in a very long time, I was actually terrified to death of another person. I looked up and she asked my name. "Hi, I'm OP." She responded with, "You're full of shit. You're Danny, aren't you? Is that you, Trejo?" I tried to assure her that I was not in fact Danny Trejo, and apologized for being unable to help her find him. She then said, "Well, next time you see him, tell him to go fuck himself," flipped me the bird, and left. The employees checked on me, but I stayed at that McDonald's for an extra hour just to be safe. I had my roommate pick me up and drive me home since I walked. It was less than a 10-minute walk in broad daylight. I just couldn't find the strength to do it, and my body felt so weak and shaky anyway. I hadn't cried about being afraid of another person in over 10 years. Being so afraid of someone who is potentially my neighbor, someone who might be following me. I saw her in passing at least once a week that year, until I got too scared to leave my home. We were complete strangers, and I didn't do anything to her except bum her a cigarette. The final time I ran into her was at the corner store again, month 5 or 6 of running into her. She was wearing really nice satin or silk pajamas, clean white fuzzy slippers, and had a cigarette in her hand. She saw me walking down the sidewalk, and I didn't have a choice but to look down and pass her. I ended up looking up and gave her a weak smile, like a just passing through. Kinda softer than the hello coworker scrunched face, you know. She still looked so evil, and I saw that she watched as I rounded the corner. I fucking bolted. Sprinting home takes less than a few minutes, but it felt like forever. I couldn't bring myself to go to the corner store for months after that, especially by myself. Despite having lived in the area for 3 years and befriending the clerks. My neighborhood isn't even a high crime area, and I never felt unsafe until that happened. Just a note, from one afflicted about another, this story is not meant to find actual humor out of those with illness or trauma or addiction. As absurd as it was, this woman has an affliction that somehow convinced her that I'm an actual enemy, in a way that made me feel legitimately threatened. I haven't seen her in a year, thankfully, and I hope she found some kind of help. Afflicted Claire Underwood lookalike, I'm sorry for whatever you've been through, but I really hope we never ever meet again. And if we do, I hope that you'll be well enough to see that I'm actually 28 years old and female, and very, very white